All right, welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon reviews. Three reviews, one impressions video this span. The first of which is Liberator TD. Just a note, whenever we get TD in a title, that's usually for tower defense. I'm not exactly sure why they do this abbreviation, but it's been a thing since forever.
Until it becomes technical dissertation or something like that.
Right, but I have my doubts that that's ever going to apply to, a video game where you build turrets.
I mean, you'd be surprised.
I genuinely would be in this case. Anyway, putting that aside, Liberator TD is not a straight tower defense game, which seems to be a running theme this year. Because I think this is about the third one of these.
I mean, straight tower defenses are kind of boring.
More on that later. But anyway, Liberator TD purports to be a glorious mix of tower defense and top-down shooter. Set in a sci-fi world, tasked with the mission to establish a new colony on a distant planet. You find yourself in grave danger from the local wildlife. Now, so already this year we've had a fusion of tower defense and action RPG, tower defense and real-time strategy game, and now we've got tower defense and top-down shooter. I mean, on the surface, I get the idea here. Because this is what I like to call an avatar-focused tower defense game. As opposed to the, let's say, pure tower defense game. That is to say, you've got a character on field that you directly control. Once again, this has been a section of tower defense since the heyday of the genre back in 2007, what have you. I remember Pixel Junk Monsters pulling this off on the PlayStation 3. So nothing new there. The micro point here seems to be the emphasis on your character and his ability to shoot, which is, once again, nothing new in a nutshell. But the idea here is, you are functionally an extra turret that can move. And that really does play into the dichotomy of the gameplay, because otherwise, how do I put this? This is tower defense with extra steps. For example, you don't just lay down a turret. You got to lay down a platform. Then you lay down a turret. So that's already an extra step more than what you would get from your average tower defense game. And that's, once again, that's to kind of de-emphasize the towers or the turrets and put emphasis on your character. And the other, I hesitate to use the word innovation, but I know the other big idea that this game seems to be going for here is limitations. That is limitations of resources, not just in the traditional sense of you've got to gather money, material, what have you, to build more defenses. No, you've also got to keep up your ammo and the ammo of your turrets, because and the upkeep of the turrets. So if you don't keep an eye on them, they will run out of bullets, they will stop functioning, etc., etc., etc.
Functioning, etc., etc., etc.
And there's also a lot of meta progression here. Once again, far more than what is usually seen in a tower defense title. And that's around your avatar. Because in addition to more traditional tower defense build-up, that is to say, you get to buy better, more powerful, more expensive turrets as the game progresses. You also get to infuse your avatar here with different attributes. So kind of taking an RPG-ish approach, but perhaps less of an emphasis there than Neural Shock, which we also covered not too long ago. And in continuing with the idea of this being a top-down shooter hybrid, this game also has something you really, really don't see in a lot of tower defense game. And that's boss encounters. I got to admit, I did not actually play the first boss encounter because this week was busy with the hurricane and other things. That's just sometimes how life goes. But if I'm being honest, and I am here, it's because I struggled with this game. Not for any necessarily broken reason or this game is doing something badly. It's that in spite of all of its purported innovations and fusions to freshen up the tower defense genre, it really is just yet another tower defense game.
Yeah, like the third most popular genre of games that roll across our desk.
I'm not sure about that, but I'm like for example, like the actual tower defense design here isn't very interesting. It's very basic.
Mm-hmm.
They at least have a few curves, but I've seen routes in iBomber more interesting than these cubes. But so I have to get it. These are early stages, and so on and so forth. And they've got a different emphasis, but it's still, at the end of the day, this game just came across as so okay it's average. I mean, just look at the art style. It kind of sums up everything about this, because there's nothing wrong with the art, and it's not like it was AI generated or anything. I mean, I didn't see any AI disclaimers. There's a mature content description, but this is all this is all art done by humans and so on and so forth. But it's not very exciting. It's all functional, and it's not even artistically functional. It's not like brutalist, utilitarian, or minimalist. We've encountered those things.
Mm-hmm.
This is more efficient.
Yes.
And
slightly like one or two steps above programmer art.
I suppose that's a good way of putting it. And it's also got a bit of the mobile challenge infusion going on here. The 3 yellow stars, accomplishing additional objectives like making sure your base doesn't get hurt. That seems to be a very standard one. Yeah, see, here's the turret progression. That's pretty standard. And now it's going to probably lead you into the character. Or that might be the next one. Yeah. As I said, none of this game is bad, but it's also not particularly good either. That's why I struggled, because I'm just like, this is the most 5 out of 10 game I've played in a good long while. I mean, sometimes that just happens.
Why do these things take so long to build?
I suppose that's enough. I mean, you can always fast forward it.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm really struggling to come up with anything else to say here.
Mm-hmm.
So that moves over to pricing, and this is where we have another issue, because this game is pretty expensive for a tower defense game, even a tower defense hybrid, because it's clocking in at $10. Technically speaking, it's on discount, $8.99, but still, I mean, for a tower defense game, if you're pushing like $10, $15,
It better be truly innovative.
Either that, or it has to be,
or at least have a lot of interesting stages and multiple different things to build.
Yeah, content, production values. Like, once again, kind of my gold standard for tower defense games is the Defense Grid series. Like, they're pretty, they're very tower defensy, if you will, but they're kind of the apotheosis of tower defense as well, because I don't think I've seen a tower defense game with as rich content, production values. Like, they're not triple A production values, but they're something beyond, we designed this for like an iPhone 4. As opposed to this game here, which definitely looks like it would have come out for an iPhone in the late 2000s.
Here's my early 2012 game dev project, right?
Yeah, that kind of deal. It's a game I'd expecting for like $5. And yeah, I do not think this game justifies its price as well. So once again, I'd wait for a deep sale, like when it's half off, if you're interested in. But even then, like, there are just so many other tower defense games,
and especially in that price point, you can get whatever you want.
Yeah. Once again, if you're looking for a tower defense game in the Avatar style, my golden standard there is Pixel Junk Monsters Ultimate Edition. I haven't played Pixel Junk Monsters 2 yet. I have it. It's just one of the games that I'll get to one of these millenniums.
Yeah, Pixel Junk Monsters is also $9.99, so...
And quite frankly, that game did a better job of justifying its expense.
And I guess if you have a buddy, Pixel Junk Monsters does have a 2-pack option.
Yep. It's got co-op. Like,
I'm not seeing any type of multiplayer in Liberator TD.
No. Like I said, its innovations were trying to do a fusion dance here. And unfortunately, it just resulted in a pretty bland mixture.
Fair enough.
Like, I'm not hurting for tower defense games or top-down shooters. So I get the desire to fuse them together, but they're not really genres that play nice with each other.
I mean, they could. But it's one of those, like, peanut butter and chocolate things where not every chocolate goes with peanut butter.
I suppose. But in this case, it's like you got the dark chocolate mixed here. So it's a bit of a bitter pill to swallow. All right, so that'll about do it for Liberator TD here. Be sure to tune in after the break, as Petty Fan will be providing his impressions on Relentless Frontier.